Coming up this week on Kiss My Collectibles, we answer more of your questions. Stay up to date with the show and subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Become a member of our brand new Patreon and receive exclusive updates and benefits.
Is that a crock?
This is Kiss My Collectibles podcast, but you knew that.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next episode of Kiss My Collectibles. I am one of your co-hosts, Jason Herndon, and with me, as always, is...
Stevie Nicks. Andrew Scambatti.
Yes.
Joseph Lalick.
Me. And the name will come up now.
They all quit. So no one
It's not in my contract to say my name.
Well, because your name is on an official Kiss book now, every time you say your name, you owe Gene a couple of bucks.
That's right.
Exactly.
Yeah, what you didn't realize you were signing was the opposite. You know, they have all the rights to use your name everywhere.
To me. Yeah.
Yeah, they twisted it around.
I can't wait to see the Nicholas Buckland crock. The Nicholas Buckland bust.
Listen, maybe I got this all wrong because there are people that have ordered those Crocs. Like when I saw that they were releasing those, I was like, "There's no way anybody's gonna wear those." But there are people that are like, "I got my Kiss Crocs. I can't."
Exactly.
Why do people still wear those?
Crocs?
But the new ones, which you can flash up right now, that have come out this week, are the LED Crocs. Have you seen those?
Even better.
The light up, so they even draw attention to your Crocs.
Why? I don't like.
They're flashing lights. So why?
Like,
So
I feel
what
like
we're
if you're wearing Crocs, like you've given up on life, and like people are like willingly giving up now. They're like, just give me a pair of those. I don't even care what they look like.
So what we're trying to say is we love all Kiss collectors and we respect the way that everybody collects in their own nuanced way, except if you buy Kiss Crocs.
Exactly. That's where we draw the line is drawn. You want to buy Beanie Babies or whatever you want to buy?
Yeah.
Cool.
Hello Kitty.
Yeah,
it
whatever.
just goes for Crocs in general, though. Just not Kiss Crocs.
Exactly.
Just Crocs in general.
This is a blanket Croc statement. This isn't just a Kiss Crocs. I mean, these are just.
But did you see you can even pimp them because they're selling, which Andrew will also put up right now, are the little button things that go in the holes. Those little they decorate them too. There's little Kiss things that they're selling for those.
Yeah, like the selling point of Crocs was like, look at how breathable they are. But but they're not breathable anymore because now we're just shoving stuff with just plug.
You got to drill vent holes in them.
It's just ridiculous. Well, listen, we're not selling Kiss My Collectible Crocs, but you can go to clicktshop.com and purchase your very own Kiss My Collectibles or Kiss My Wax t-shirt. If you want to help the channel grow, make sure you give this video a like, hit subscribe on YouTube, make sure you hit that bell icon so you stay up to date when we post new episodes. Nicholas needs to drink his wine, so become a member of our Patreon, and you can win a date with Nicholas Buckland.
Yes, that's
and
my wife and my who I never seem to get a break from.
So this week we're following up Viewer Questions Volume 1 with Viewer Questions Volume 2. I've got a list of the final questions here to ask the fellas. But before we do that, let's show some new stuff. Nicholas, I think it's just Nicholas and I.
Yes, because we're recording this show so early that I wasn't able to get to the post office to pick up what's there, because I do have something new.
Yes. Well, you'll show it next week.
I'll show it next week.
That's right. And Joe is in the middle of lots of different things in his personal life, so he's not showing Kiss stuff today. So
ever again.
Again. He's done with Kiss.
All of this is all for sale. Whatever. Just do a porch pickup at the house. Just come get it.
And that's just a green screen anyway. It's like it's not actually.
Mine. What I was going to show Nicholas is probably not as cool as what you're going to show, so I'll go first. And it's just one thing, and it's cheap, and it just came out, and
Kiss Crocs. That would be the best ever.
Oh my God, that would be so funny.
I wouldn't be able to. I would quit. I'd walk off the show.
Take the top off the box. Holy mackerel! What's going on?
I did buy a box of these.
Oh, cool.
Are you gonna eat them?
No. I don't eat cereal.
What? You don't eat
They're
cereal?
bright red. What?
I live
don't
on
eat-
cereal.
No, I don't eat cereal. Anyway, it's the Funko Demon.
There's
I
It's
think
red,
it's
isn't it?
red
The
cereal.
Funkos?
There's a mini pop
Oh.
in there.
Yeah, there is a mini pop in here. Yep, as advertised on the box.
You know
There's
that.
a pretty funny video of Gene and Nick eating
Yeah.
a bowl
I
of.
saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, so
I
But,
did. That reminded me. I did walk into my office. I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday, and my boss had gotten me a set of Kiss Pops.
oh yeah, cool, very cool. I ordered a set of Kiss, the new Funko Pops.
That's what I mean.
I pre-ordered a set of those 4 months ago, probably.
Yeah.
And the company keeps saying we haven't gotten stock, so we can't ship it to you. I don't know who the hell I ordered it through, but I'm very, very angry. But
Same company that you got the Kiss Crocs from.
Yeah,
Apparently,
yes, but
yeah.
can we interest you in a pair of Kiss
Kiss
Crocs?
Crocs.
That's right.
We don't have any pops, but can we interest you in some Crocs?
So anyway, these are available exclusively through FYE, which is a record store chain in the United States.
That I used to
called,
work for.
Yep, For Your Entertainment. I just got it off their website. They were like $12. They've got tons of other bands that they have done as well.
They sell
So
cereal in a record store.
sure, yeah. If it's that kind of stuff. Yeah.
What's funny about
Record
FYE?
store?
Yeah, what's funny about FYE is when I was there, it was basically just all CDs, and there was like a little wall of like accessories and stuff. Now it's different. Now maybe there's one row of CDs and one row of DVDs, and the store is all tchotchkes, pop culture T-shirts, candy,
Right.
all
I
kinds
see.
of boutique stuff.
And
It's kind of
vinyl.
become a hot
vinyl.
topic, kind of, for
That's
Spencer's. kind of.
Yeah,
Exactly.
It's basically it's basically just a little bit bigger of a Spencer's. And like in these stores, when they used to be in shopping malls here, they were the biggest store. Like it would be a giant space, like the size of a lunchroom cafeteria. It's not
Yeah.
like that anymore.
Yep.
Notoriously overpriced.
Correct. Do
Sure.
you know what FYE stands for?
For Your Entertainment. I already said it.
I've never heard
No.
of it.
Oh,
Go
what?
ahead, Andrew.
It
Go
does
ahead.
not stand for that. It stands for fuck you're expensive.
Yeah. The one by us closed down. So, and I think there was a lot of people even commenting when the Funko Pop cereal came out. Oh, it's available at FYE, and everybody was like, are those stores even still around? So, yeah,
Yeah.
who knows?
All right. Nicholas, what do you got?
I've got something very small to show you. Insert joke here.
We don't want to see that.
Exactly.
Blur.
Please no.
It is winter here, so now what I got, this you're gonna have to flash it. Andrew's gonna have to put these up on screen because they just won't show, but this is the first thing. I've got version 1, 2,
Nice.
nope, sorry, wrong side, 2 and 3, and Andrew will show the comparison when he cuts this together. But they had 3 attempts at the 1980 Kiss coins, where Eric goes through the most change. He looks absolutely terrible in one version of it, but as do the rest of the band. Kind of get progressively sort of better, and finally, kind of passable by the end for what could be done in 1980 technology. But I'd only ever had the silver one, so it's nice to have got all 3 in the one eBay buy. Actually, finally got that. Kind of completes the set. Is the 3 gold ones and a silver one.
I wish there was a book that would show all of this stuff, like all this original 70s stuff. That way we could just like put it like a nice coffee table book. And I would pay more if it was signed by Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley, but also too if it came with a poster, maybe a postcard, also a silver foil cover.
I think those guys should.
What
watch
shape would you want it? Round or triangular? Perhaps,
no, it'd be real difficult to read a round or triangular book. I definitely would want it more square than anything. Yeah.
That's weird. It sounds like a book that I would deeply regret being involved in, so I don't want to be part of it.
That's hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Make sure you head on over to hottestbrandbook.com
Okay.
where you can purchase this book right now.
That's right.
Yes, that's right.
With
Right.
Joe's tears of regret staining every page. That's the Ultra Super Deluxe.
Tear
Well,
stain version.
Joe is a
you
ray
heard
of
about the
sunshine
teardrop. There's the teardrop rock and roll over cover, and this is the tear stained.
Yeah, right.
This is what Joe will be doing the whole show. Just
putting books in front of me. I'm just crying into the page.
Like,
Like,
I'm like whipping. Going, we need more tears. It's like I'm all out. I've gone dry.
I'm all out. I'm all cried out.
but can I
I'm
interest
feeling
you in
nothing
some
about
Peter Chris Crocs?
Yes.
no,
Exactly.
Catman Crocs.
What else do you have?
Catman Crocs.
The next
Everybody
thing-
will be like, why can't I find the Catman Crocs? Oh, yeah.
The next thing comes all the way from Japan, and that is the Japan Song Folio.
Nice.
Those are so cool.
It's very nice. I really like that because all of them in the series are basically just 2-color jobs. So they just here they've just chosen the red and the black. This is a really nice one. This was like super cheap actually. I think it's missing one page from what they said in the listing, but I think considering I'm never actually going to perform charisma in my house, like an electric bass, guitar, chorus, and vocal. You heard my singing last issue, so
It's
you'd
terrible.
understand
Please
why.
never sing.
Yeah, he never sing again. But this is cool thing. Like it was only about $60 or $70 because
It's
there's
a cool
actually
thing.
these. Yeah, I mean these things normally go for about $200 or $300. So yeah, it was nice to get this one finally.
Is it hardback or something?
So what the song follows are, they're very different to the song books because it actually lifts out. So this is like a hardcover slipcover thing. And then these open up. Oh, and then it's kind of like almost like an obi that tears apart here. And then within it you kind of get just loose sheets. So you
Wow.
see there's like a little 1970s advert for all different records you could buy, all in
What happened?
Japanese.
See if you could still send away for that stuff. See what happens.
Yeah, I don't know. Like a nice, real cool contents page.
I'm sick of that photo.
That
Yeah,
that is excellent. I did not know those were put together like that. That's very cool.
If only there was a book that compiled all. We've already done it.
Just take your Catman Crocs and get out of here.
That would be the best if Nicholas sent away for something and got Spaceman Crocs back. We've overbought at the Kiss warehouse.
I only ordered one, and they just come every month.
Yeah.
Like, more and more.
Oh, Croc of the month. That
Croc
would be
of the
great.
month.
Awesome. The next two things is I know Jason has this one, but it is the wider version of the solo albums.
I have that.
Andrew has it too.
I have that.
Yeah. Oh, you got it as well. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey,
So-
you know what I find interesting about that arrow, Nicholas?
Mhm.
Points
Yes.
down.
Is that it says Rock Steady on it.
And as we all know, Rocksteady continued way into 1978, despite what learned individuals say.
Yes.
So yes, a lovely double-sided piece, this. And even better than that, which came in the same sale, this is very hard to find, actually, which is the Australian
Oh,
Unmasked.
Very cool.
This hung in stores in Australia during their tour. Distributed in Australia by Polygram Records, Pty Limited. I love this. This is one of my favourite ones.
yes. I've got to get one.
I'll take that one.
I have to get one to go along with the cube.
I actually, as a lot of Kiss collectors do, I bought from this great seller, Matt Buffington, and he's the guy who organised the Kiss pinball machine for the book and got it all shot for me by a professional photographer. But I did the deal with him in 3 lots, and then I kind of run out of money. So this one has been sitting in his office. He'll be watching this. It's been sitting in his office for about a year waiting for me to pay him. He hasn't hassled me for it, which is great. He just goes, whenever you want to pay, is fine. And I always knew they were just sitting in the corner of his office, but I go, can't afford to pay for them yet. So finally they're here actually, which is great. Yeah.
It's the same situation I'm doing with with a pinball machine. Oddly enough, I've paid about $1,500 towards it, and the gentleman I'm purchasing it from
he's asking for his money back.
Give me my money back. I gotta pay my mortgage. No, he's I gotta buy Kiss Crocs and more Demon cereal. So, he's like, whenever you can, it's sitting here. I'm in no rush to get rid of it. I've got other pinball machines, So
just playing it every day, going, hey man.
So hopefully by the end of the year I can get this taken care of. So and set it up behind me.
I actually have a guy in Australia who has 3 Kiss pinball machines at the very back of his storage unit, and he's offered me one. It's just talking the wife into allowing me to release that kind of money to buy one.
Yeah,
and I'm not telling anyone who he is, or so people don't just fade his thing. But it's there. It's waiting for me to purchase. I've just got to.
The unfortunate part about that though is it's stock. The storage unit is stock full of Kiss Crocs, and you got to go through the Kiss Crocs to get to the Kiss pinball machine.
Kiss Crocs of the month. All right, what do we got? How about some?
It's like Crocs.
Crocs.
Is that a croc?
Yeah, Steve Irwin would have freaked out. Fuck! It's Crocs.
Everybody run!
What are those?
Oh God, it's too early and late.
I just know, Andrew, that's going to be the tag, isn't it? Me going, it's a croc. So just go ahead. I'll give you a bunch of different things now.
You put that in the intro. Man. It's a croc.
Yeah.
Okay,
are we doing a show today?
Yeah, we are. We're doing a show. So
let me know when we start taping.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, if that's what we're calling this.
All right, so let's move on to these remaining viewer questions. Excuse me.
No.
Thanks again for your submissions on all these.
Yes, definitely a lot of submissions, and I've, unlike the last episode, I actually went ahead and narrowed these down ahead of time. All the questions are coming from either Kiss My Wax or the Kiss My Collectibles Facebook groups. Most of these are. About half of these are questions. Some of them are show suggestions, but I wanted to, mention them on the air because I thought there were some pretty good ideas. So, so let's start with our good friend Tim Kliz. In Kiss My Wax, he posted the question, what's an item that collectors love, high-end stuff, that you just don't really care about? He said for him, it's the toy. All right, Andrew, that's enough of the Crocs joke. That's not high end. So he said for him, the toy guitar in the box, $1,500 doesn't float his boat. So are there any high end Kiss items that you're, I would imagine like Nicholas, if we were thinking about Nicholas, if it wasn't necessarily merch, I mean, some of these, like Joe has spent quite a bit of money on that white double platinum behind him that Nicholas would never spend that kind of money on, but I mean that's a super high.
For me it wouldn't be that. For me it'd be those rings. They always and those. So the 1978 rings, which again I'm really bossy today. I'm just kidding. Andrew will flash this up. Andrew's going, fuck, I got a lot of work this week to find these little cut-ins. But anyway.
He's like, this is fucking viewers' questions. Like, I'm not supposed to be editing all week.
I do have a real job, guys. It's like, there's the 1978 rings, and they kind of went all yellowy, but they'll sell for about $400 each. What? And every time I see them, I go, I just can't part $400 for a tiny little ring or a necklace of a bad yellowing photo.
But that's a little different, I think, than the question, right? I think the question was, what high-end collectible don't you care about? Because you would certainly, if you had access, if you found one tomorrow on eBay for $30, you'd scoop it up instantly.
Oh, okay. So I misunderstood the question.
So I
thought they meant what can I spend a lot of money on? Don't they mean?
Well, I think Tim, it's a good point, Joe. and we can approach it either way, because Tim kind of makes it sound like in his question that, you know, $1,500, he's not paying $1,500 for a plastic guitar in a box.
But surely he'd pay 30 if he found it.
Right. I'm sure he would, you know, he's a reseller, and I'm sure he would definitely pick that up, you know, but I'm with you, Nicholas. In fact, I was just talking with our friend John Hadgis. He sent me a link for those necklaces that are kind of similar to those rings. I think it's kind of all in that family
yeah, they're
of
all
stuff.
the same. Yeah.
There's a set of 5 up on eBay right now at $10,000. You know,
I'll take 2.
It's unbelievable. You know, it's unbelievable. But you know, but for me, all of that stuff, all of that vintage or coin stuff, I would buy it all if the price was right. I don't think, for me personally, there's no high end item like that that's a coin era that I wouldn't buy. Now,
yeah, certainly nothing that I wouldn't dismiss out of hand and just go, yeah. I hate it for for some sort of reason.
Now there are other high end. Sorry, Andrew, don't lose your thought real quick. There are other high end items that are expensive that I would never buy, even if they were like those Kiss sideshow things. You know, they look cool and all, but I don't have any desire to have those in my collection or anything like that. What were you about to say, Andrew?
So there are 2 things that I wouldn't buy, and one of them I have a picture of. I would definitely never buy these.
Oh my god.
No, anyway, no. In all
I need
seriousness,
another drink.
Yeah, in all seriousness, though, for me, they just never. It's those record and those tape cabinets from '79. You know, the JCPenney catalog ones. I don't understand the attraction to those. It looks extremely cheap. It looks like
a box with a sticker.
Yeah, it's like a box with a sticker. And I know those items were huge. I know a lot of the original Star Wars items were basically that, because they didn't have the molds. They didn't know that the movie was going to be such a hit. So you had, like, you know, just a plain old ray gun with a Star Wars logo on it. Things like that never ever excite me. If you're just going to slap a sticker,
you say Reagan? Oh, Reagan.
Yeah.
So Reagan.
Yeah,
Reagan with a Star Wars sticker. No, about that.
But you know, there are so many things like that, and we could even, I mean, that could bleed into, like, even the record player. I mean, for me, the record player is kind of a little bit cooler, because you could play Kiss 45s and records on it, but, like, literally you're buying a box with some solo album and Dynasty artwork, like, probably just, you know, glued on there. Like, it's just.
Oh yeah.
Well, people like, I've got that one actually, and funnily enough, even photographing it, the glue is so bad that it's turned the actual label almost to a really hard kind of thing, and a little tiny corner bits just flake off. Like it's like even the black of it is like a single color paint. It needs another lick of paint. You can actually see the wood color coming through it. They're absolutely terrible quality. I like it because it's all coin, but you know, that's probably the worst. Out of everything I've got, it's one of the worst made things I own. Yeah, if you were to say in terms of actual quality.
Right. Yeah. That's where I was going. It's interesting how, you know, people bash on the Spencer stuff. Oh, it's cheap. Spencer stuff is cheap garbage and stuff like that, and the coin stuff was so much better. But when you really look back at this stuff, and I look at this Tiger record player over here, that stuff is very cheap, and those things are a good example of that. So.
But then you have those cheap things, and you have, like, the lunchbox and the color forms. Like, that stuff is cool.
Sure.
That stuff is cool.
Sure. I agree with that. Joe, you never said any high-end item that you don't care about?
He hates Kiss. He's done.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'd fall into the category of if I can get it at a decent price, I think I would buy just about anything vintage. So there's nothing that I have a irrational dislike for.
Right.
But again, it's all about price, right? If price was no object, I'd buy a ton more stuff than I have.
Right.
But Joe, at the current prices, what things do you just always see? Something like someone offers you in a private deal, and you always go, pass. Is there something you keep passing over because of the price?
No.
You keep getting off.
No, not really. What's interesting, I guess, from a vinyl perspective, because that's kind of, you know, what I collect the most of. I don't have any interest in 45s. Zero interest in 45s. So and that just goes for record collecting for me in general.
Right.
And I know that's probably counterintuitive from a value standpoint, because I know some of that stuff can be crazy expensive, not just in the KISS world, but in the music world in general. But
Sure.
yeah, that's one thing that I just really have no interest in.
Interesting. Interesting.
I'm with
I
you
do.
there.
From an artwork point of view, I would have thought you would like some of the artwork on the 45s because it's some cool.
I love it.
Yeah, like in terms of visually, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to mention that because
no.
I'm with Joe on the not collecting 45s, and my only, introduction to collecting 45s is when they released that set of them, and I actually got to see some of the artwork, and then I went back and got them. One of the only 45s that I really sought after, that I really wanted, was the Detroit Rock City A-side, Beth B-side, and then the Beth A-side, Detroit Rock City B-side. Those are the only two 45s I sought after, because that's a piece of history right there with Beth becoming a big hit.
Was there any difference to it, or did they just switch A and B?
They switched A and B.
Is there actually any in terms of the actual product?
I do not think there's any difference.
I'll have to look, but I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
All right.
cool.
Let's move on. So out of Kiss My Wax, Darren Anderson asks, would you sell your years of investments in your collection for a medical emergency, or if you lost everything in a fire or theft, would you try to get everything back again? So in a pinch, would you sell all your stuff?
I sincerely hope none of us ever has to do anything like that. But
I agree totally. But if
push came to shove, I mean, I would try to sell everything else before that.
Medicare, we're doing all right. Let's get into. I would never have to sell anything for medical procedure. Let me tell you why. In a totally different show.
Yeah, please don't.
He rips off the mask, and
In Australia, it's the best.
Hold on, it's the best? There's literally spiders the size of your face trying to get into your house every night.
Yeah. Why do you think medicine's free? Because everything's trying to kill you. We'd all be broke otherwise.
It has to be free, or everybody would be dead.
We'd all be dead.
Listen, I got a cough, but this spider's coming into my room tonight, and it's gonna kill me, so it's fine. I'm not getting it taken care of.
All right, so let's put it in different terms for you, Nicholas.
I was just checking.
No. I get it. You can't answer that question properly, because the situation is totally different there. But let's say, both of you and your wife lost your jobs, and you didn't have any side work, and all of a sudden you're behind on your mortgage. Would you sell your KISS merchandise to pay that?
It would have to be pretty desperate to do.
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got
I
15 boxes.
The reality is,
KISS of Spencer's crap under the house, which would go first.
right.
It's covered in spiders, though.
I think the reality is all of us.
I don't touch them.
If it got that desperate, or if it got that bleak, I think all of us would.
I think anybody would. You'd have to. You'd have to.
Yeah.
Now, what
I
if
almost don't even like this question. Like, I almost don't even ever want to think about that.
Yeah. No, it's. But we had the other part of that question was if you lost your stuff in a fire, would you try to start recollecting it again? And we just had our friend Les, who watches our show all the time. All of his stuff didn't burn, but he lost, a couple of rooms full of KISS merchandise, a lot of very expensive stuff in a fire. And I talked to him down in Birmingham for hours about this, at the KISS show. And, you can just imagine, like, I'm in a basement here. What if this place flooded? Certainly could happen. So
where we moved to is a bushfire zone. So it hasn't happened. Where the particular part we are, there's parts of the Blue Mountains which get wiped out almost every year by some kind of a bushfire. So kind of like the forest fires of California, and where I am hasn't been wiped out since the 50s. We've been quite lucky, but I always think that if it did all go, I don't think I would be back. I think I'll probably still stick around somewhere in KISS collecting, but I don't think I could start again, because even if you receive the insurance money, there's no way you could actually purchase it. So there's no one sitting there going, hey, I've got all this stuff. Do you want to buy it back again?
Yeah.
You couldn't replace. It's irreplaceable. So I think I've thought about this. If the whole thing was to go in a fire, I would just go, I'm done. You know, I'm 45. I'm done. I'm not going to start again. I like the band. I'll listen to the music, but this is the end kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, so
You can start collecting rare
I think
Men at Work merchandise instead.
I could. Yeah.
Okay, next more upbeat question. How's that?
Yeah.
Instead of
Okay, let me see.
Yeah.
I would have
Right.
edited that question out.
Something
Listen, I
happy.
appreciate him for participating. And,
I've switched to gin now.
Yeah,
so
I really do appreciate that, and thank you for submitting that question. But man, no more questions like that.
Well, you know, I'm going down the list here. All right, over in the Kiss Mike.
Self-edit yourself.
No,
You
no, no,
lost your arm in a wood chipper.
no. Would you get it? Would you search for a new one? What?
I would just join a Def Leppard tribute band.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right, over in the
Give
Kiss
my
My
left arm to be in
Collectibles.
that band.
Over in the Kiss My Collectibles group, Stanley Wolf asks, "What is the rarest Kiss tour book and why?" Now, I think this has been discussed many times, but we'll go ahead and answer it on the.
It's the
the
Return
show?
to Kiss. It's the Return to Kiss book. But aside, if Return to Kiss aside, I think there are maybe I'm gonna just rattle off 5. Rare
Don't
ones.
just gloss over Return of Kiss. He specifically asked, "What's the rarest Kiss tour book?" and why?"
That's the rarest one, and it's so rare that you have collectors in the single digits that have it, and we've never 1 or 2 pop up, and we're always saying, is this a real one? Is it not a real one? I mean, you know, seeing 2 every 5 years, you're going to question its legitimacy at that point because it's been so evasive for that long.
That's great, but the
I
question was
only know
why.
one collector who has it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but there's a guy here in North Olmsted, Ohio, that has one. But it's so rare because this is the alternate cover of the Dynasty Tour book that has them with New York City behind them and them in the smoke and all that stuff. The front and back cover are different. The back cover actually prints tour dates, or is it the front cover? Does anybody know the tour dates?
Because it's photographed in some upcoming book. The back cover is just the color of the front cover, and it's the inside cover which has the tour dates on it. So it's really that 4-page section which is different to the very first Kiss Dynasty book.
Now, do we know if it's the Paul or
so
Gene ad that's in there? Do we know that?
It's identical to the first version. So that the Paul ad?
I'm not sure because I'm missing
with
one of them.
less pictures. I can't remember.
Okay.
It's whatever the one which has less pictures on the member pages is.
Okay.
It's the same as that one.
Okay.
Yeah. So Jared Decker, he's in our group. He has one, and he's pretty much, apart from wherever the one that was sold on eBay went, I don't know, but Jared's about the only one who has it. And anytime he comments on something, like we'll show something, and he'll always go, "Oh, that looks really great," and I always go, "Yeah, but you have the Return of the Kiss tour book."
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, it's like, I think he just picked it up at a show, you know, and he was one of the very few people to keep it. So,
And we think that was sold at the Atlanta show, correct? It was not the Lakeland, Florida show. 'Cause people do say it was the first show.
Savannah.
Excuse me,
Georgia.
Savannah. I apologize. I apologize. It's Savannah, Georgia. Because people always say that it was that first show in Lakeland, and it's not the Lakeland show that it was.
No, because the rumors to how it happened is that it's the rejected tour book. It's the one that, I mean, the cover is absolutely terrible. If you actually see it up close, like Gene's been retouched, and they've actually almost airbrushed in his tongue. They're all reversed as well. It's a really bad job. So they've obviously rejected that one. So the very first dates had the Dynasty cover. So technically, the Dynasty cover one is the first tour book, which appeared on the early dates. And then they reckon that they ran out of tour books, and someone shipped down the rejected tour books. So they turned up on one date, possibly 2 dates, and then they finally had more to sell because they had nothing to sell. So they go, "We've got to sell something." So it's actually the Return of Kiss one actually appeared 4 or 5 dates in. Whenever Savannah is, I think it's about the 4th or 5th show. That's what we think anyway.
Let's check.
It's hard to get confirmation, but that's what a few people. A guy named Sean Fox told me that he once saw a photo on kissnews.de, that German site, and somebody had an actual merch stand photo of the book, but I've never been able to get a confirmation on that.
So Savannah, Georgia is the third date, and those first couple Dynasty dates are kind of cool because you have the first date in Lakeland, Florida, which is obviously the first day of the show, but then the second date, which is cool, was the one at the Hollywood Sportatorium, Pembroke Pines. This is the show where Gene wore his original Dynasty costume. The one that was more jewels and gems, whereas it didn't look
Rhinestone,
it didn't look like paper mache.
Yeah.
And then the third date was Savannah, Georgia. So June 19th.
Savannah.
June 19th.
Yeah, I mean we've got no proof, but that's just what's been said from people's memory anyway.
But let's mention the other let's mention the other rare tour books as well too. You know, we have the Revenge tour book, which wasn't available on that many dates. We have the Creatures of the Night tour book, also a very abridged tour as well. But then you have these one-off tour books. You know, Japan 2003 that was available at 4 shows there. Those 3 shows, Budokan, and the 1 show in Yokohama. Then you have the 2003 Kiss Symphony tour book, which was only available at 1 show. And then for some reason, that Summer 2010 tour book, the hottest show on earth tour book, that seems to be rare as well too, which can get upwards of $250 at this point.
Yeah.
But those are some good rare tour books.
The thing I like about that one, it's the only tour book with no Kiss logo, which is just odd, but cool, very cool.
Very, very cool.
I like that one. Very
and I think the Kiss collecting community is bracing itself. If one of these, first issue Dynasty Return of Kiss tour books ever shows up, just what kind of price it's going to go for, especially in the collector's market right now. I know that there's just about everybody says, well, I can't be a player because it's just going to be off the charts with how expensive that thing could be.
Well, the one Nicholas was talking about a little earlier that sold on eBay, was it probably 2 years ago, you think, Nicholas?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Yeah, it was about 10 grand.
It sold for 10 grand.
I remember we were watching it all and we were saying, I can't believe what it's up to now.
Yeah, and there's a few collectors who've said they refuse to. I know Mark Cicchini said he's not going to pay 10 grand for just 4-page, cover.
Yeah.
He said he'd rather spend it on something else. There's a few people who probably could afford it, but they'd probably rather spend it on something else.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I've just resigned myself to go. I'm going to say my tour book collection will be complete when I finish all the tour books, and I'm just leaving that one out because I know there is no way I will ever spend $10,000 on that book. It will never happen. It will never ever happen unless some weird person who doesn't know how much it's worth contacts me personally and goes, "Hey, I've got this for $50." That's about the only chance I've got if owning that book. Really,
you hope somebody...
as everyone out there at home is probably the same. If you get offered it, jump at it, and
It also shows how rare it is too that there's some stuff in the Kiss community that is out there that can bring a lot of money, but you see it all the time. Some of these promo EP, you just see them all during in lunch boxes, whatever it is, right? So that stuff is prevalent, but it still fetches a decent price. That if these things were out there, that they would be sold. So
here's the question then: if it appeared at the Savannah show, how many tour books do you reckon they sell per show?
So the old 2020.
So where are they all?
The old 2020 news clip, as they said, they would bring, as far as merchandise go, about $1 ahead of merchandise. So if you're playing a haul that's $20,000, they would bring $20,000 worth of merchandise. So tour book at that time would sell for $5 or $6,
something like that.
So I think, just along with everything else, and just remember the merch stand wasn't like it was. I mean, maybe there was 3 shirts, maybe. I don't even think there was a poster at the merch stand at the time.
Yeah.
So you think.
So what? A couple thousand, maybe.
Yeah, maybe at maximum 2,000, 3,000.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't think many.
So then, so why are we only seeing 2 appear in the last 20 years?
It's a good question.
It's the same question.
Maybe they were never. Maybe they were never at the Savannah show.
It's a question that we even ask when we're talking about the Let Me Go Rock and Roll single. We've seen 3 of those in 25 years.
Right.
Where'd they all go?
Yeah.
Next up,
Interesting discussions. Okay, Nicholas can probably speak to this a little more. I'm sure we all can speak to it, but since he just wrote a book about it, George Taylor over in Kiss My Collectibles says, what was the very first piece of official Kiss merchandise other than vinyl? And is there any unofficial merchandise from 73, 74 that is sought after?
I suppose it depends what you call official, because
Right.
we kind of think the first things that have Boutwell, Bootwell, or coin on them is that you can see it in the Alive tour book. It suggests there's a poster, there's a T-shirt, iron on, and basically those are the sort of the early ones. There was an earlier one of the band. Oh, Andrew, again, we'll flash it up here, which didn't have any it didn't have any details on it, and then they later released it in 1977 with the details. But the lips pin, which is just here, that one. Oh,
right,
there we go.
But that wasn't mass produced. That was a backstage pass, and that was 77.
Exactly.
That was 77.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Look, what does the questioner? What do you want? No. What does the questioner mean by official merchandise? I mean, in terms of what we collect, we would say that that's a Kiss collectible now. But in terms of what was actually their merchandise, it's got to be the stuff from 75.
Right. Bless you.
Other than that, press kits. First press kit.
I think maybe he's talking about like stuff that was mass produced. I mean,
yeah, I think he is.
It's a T-shirt.
Yeah, these
T-shirt poster.
Yeah, T-shirt. It's the I still call it the Eric Foreman poster, the poster that was on Eric Foreman's bedroom wall in that 70s show.
Yeah, there's that Alive poster, which one stopped, then later reproduced again in 1976 and 77. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it came out in 75 originally. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what we think.
Good answer. All right. Let's see. Joshua Bella in Kiss My Collectibles says, other than vinyl, what's the most collectible format for Kiss albums? Are there any super rare cassettes or CD variants? What about 8-tracks or reel-to-reels?
Spotify.
It's the ultra-rare Spotify.
I guess we can take those one at a time, right? I mean, yeah, they're all... What's the next most collectible format? I don't know if there's... I mean, maybe arguably 8-track, Jason, would you think? Or anybody else, obviously, Andrew? I think 8-track is the next one.
I would probably say... there's a huge cassette market, and just simply because of how rare the Japanese cassettes are, I would say those are, in my opinion, probably the next format that is the most collectible outside of vinyl. Now, there are some super rare Kiss 8-tracks that we definitely want to touch on. Clearly, Creatures of the Night is very rare. Animalize is moderately rare, which was only released as in a record club, Columbia House. But Lick It Up, which was also released as Columbia House, for some reason, you never see it. Yeah, I mean, we've probably seen it once or twice in the past.
And one time we saw it was a bootleg.
Yeah, no. I'm talking about real. We've probably only seen it once or twice on eBay in the last 6-8 years or something like that. If for some reason it is just not out there, and most of the major 8-track collectors are still looking for Lick It Up. It's absolutely, definitely, without a doubt, when it does come up again, going to be at least a $500 tape, in my opinion. So,
and I think interest has also spiked in reel-to-reel over the years, and as collecting has become, it's become hotter and hotter here. For sure, the reel-to-reel stuff, those seem to go for about 200-ish a piece, somewhere in there. Some of them can be really hard to find. Dynasty seems to be one that, because it's obviously later on in the catalog and as formats were moving, but that one, is a tough one. So anyway, yeah.
And what did it span to? Do you know?
Well,
Where
reel
did it go from?
reel to reel is
Reel to
odd
reel?
because the first 3 albums are not available on reel to reel. I think you have Alive, Destroyer, Rock and Roll Over, Love Gun, Double Platinum. There are no solo album reel to reels.
No, Dynasty
and Dynasty.
Yep.
Okay.
So I think there's 6. I think that's right.
Okay.
Yeah, and they're not easy to find.
And I'll have to show it on another show. But one of the prized pieces in my collection is a Rock and Roll Over reel to reel with a sticker.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. I've never seen it before. I don't know if anybody else has one. Please comment or show it, because I think people just assumed, I know I did, that that none of that stuff came with any of the inserts or any of the stuff.
Right.
Now, that doesn't
Are you
mean
talking about a hype sticker? Do you mean
no,
a hype sticker?
a literal the
okay, the one that came in the LP.
But it's different from the LP ones. I'll show it on another show. But
awesome. I'd love to see that.
Yeah, that was it was a weird one. Yeah, I saw it. It popped up on eBay, and I had never seen one with a sticker before, and just got it immediately, just for that reason. But I think the answer to the question is all the formats are collectible. Even CDs, the CD long boxes.
Sure.
In any format are tough to find, and I think people are really into those as well.
Yep. Definitely back on 8 tracks, the originals, both Canadian and US versions, they're tough to find complete with their boxes and all of the inserts, and there's a miniature version of the book that came in the album. There's a miniature version of it that's folded that goes in these things, and the cards and the sticker and the whole 9 yards. It's tough to find those complete, and they're super cool. But there's
the Japanese cassettes also came with outer cardboard sleeves.
Yeah,
right?
They're all slip cases, and
wow.
just very, very difficult to find. And there's a couple of really good Facebook groups out there with some guys that are like really, really, really into collecting the other formats. There's a Kiss Cassettes group. There's a Kiss 8 Tracks group. I know that Tom Daniels is really into it. Alex Michael, those guys collect all of those other formats, and they have a wealth of knowledge in those groups. So if go.
I really love those long boxes just to see what the graphic designer's done with her.
Yeah,
he's obviously received the artwork, and now he's got to deal with this tall long thing. I think it's Lick It Up. They're like down the bottom, and then it's like nothing. Yes,
it's this much white. It's like
white space.
I love white space, but holy cow!
Right.
All right,
here's extra creative white space.
Here's a good opinion piece. Dave Mitchell and
piece.
Yes, Dave Mitchell over in Kiss My Collectibles asks. No, I'm sorry, that's not the question I wanted to ask. Where did it go? Oh yeah, it was Dave Mitchell. Sorry. I got to highlight this stuff because they're so close together. Dave Mitchell and Kiss My Collectibles says, when do you predict the bubble will burst and all rare Kiss merch will take a major fall in value?
It's probably going to be in the next 10 years, I would assume, because if Kiss is actually going to be done touring, I think there's going to be a lot less mainstream attention to Kiss. I didn't say Kiss was ending, and I don't mean that there's going to be less Kiss products out there, but just remember when there was that lull when Kiss really wasn't touring between 2004 and 2008, there really wasn't a whole lot going on in the collecting community just because Kiss wasn't a mainstream thing. I mean, they were doing these one-off shows here and there. So it kind of fell off at that point. But, it also it fell off again even like late 2001, after the farewell tour. So I think after Kiss, if they're actually done being a touring entity and they're going to take some, actual time, I do think that all merchandise is going to drop off at that point because there's not going to be anything, that there's, for some reason, the band being active makes the merchandise more sought after.
That's one view that I've heard voiced many, many times. I often wonder, does Kiss have collecting Kiss merchandise have staying power like the Beatles does.
Absolutely not.
And so we're in an interesting time now where, first of all, we have a huge player in the collector market that is buying up a lot of stuff that's driving up prices. And I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing, because I think some of the stuff may be artificially inflated because, one or two people want to get their hands on these items and they're willing and able to pay anything they can to get them. Mm-hmm. And then what that does is when someone sees something sell for, $1,500, $2,000, that if that person wasn't in that market would be a $300 item or whatever the case may be, now everybody is posting their items, those same items, at $1,500, $2,000. So, what does that mean for the market? And are we truly in a bubble right now for Kiss collecting because of that particular situation? I don't know. Nicholas, you've got a ton of very expensive stuff behind you. Well, what do you think?
I think the question you have to ask yourself is, when you start seeing new people join, say, our page or any collector groups, what are their ages? Mm-hmm. Are we getting any 20-year-olds who go, I'm really into coin merchandise, I'm really into it, I've just started? Like, I'm not seeing as much. So the question is, what happens when, I'm probably one of the younger ones, but, as are you, Jason, but, you start getting some of these guys who are like getting close to 50, maybe 55, 60, what do they then do in the later part, or even in 10 to 20 years, and they sell their collections? But who are they actually selling to? Maybe the rest of the people who haven't given up and stick in there for a bit longer. But there's no, is there new blood coming through collecting all coin merchandise? That's the question. Because I'm not seeing a lot of 18 or 20-year-old guys, and I don't know if it's a price thing or if it's just a lack of interest. And it's really just a whole bunch of oldish guys who are moving along in life. And then what happens at the end of it? Like, if we all get to 70 or 80 and then die and our partners go, I've got to sell it, you go, will there be anyone to sell it to?
It's a good question.
Am I back on death again? Back to depressing questions again.
Yeah. Gloom, doom, cry.
And then a fire.
Right.
Well, I mean, we're a collector's show, and this is a very, very, very important part of doing this.
I don't think this is an important part. I think the moment that you focus on resale value of your collection, I think you're not doing this for the right reasons. This stuff is supposed to bring us joy, and this stuff is supposed to...
No. I get that. That's not what I'm saying, Andrew. I'm saying you to obtain some of this stuff, you have to look at what it is selling for, and you have to make a smart call on, am I going to pay $1,500 for this just because I want it in my collection, and there's one other guy out there that'll pay that? What is the end game of that? How much money are you going to throw down the drain? You're paying $1,500 for something that isn't really worth $200 or $300. I'm not talking about.
I guess I agree there.
You can't. You've got to make an informed decision and buy. So.
Because there are people out there, people on our page every day that are still trying to sell those McFarlane figures for $300 a set. I'm like, buddy, you're in for a rude awakening.
Right. However, with that being said, I think the earlier coin stuff, I don't know if I've ever seen a time, and you guys can all comment if I'm wrong, I don't know if I've ever seen a time where the stuff is more expensive than it is right now.
No, there's not.
So it feels to me like we might be, if I were guessing, and if I had to put the money on the table, I would say that we are in the quote-unquote golden age of Kiss collecting, and I feel like this is if I had to hedge my bet, I would say this is the end of it. Not saying that there aren't going to be people who are involved. I think this is the last great time where we're going to see the big coin stuff going for this kind of money, because I think one of the factors is, well, there's two. It's economy that always ebbs and flows, right?
Right.
I also feel like people in our age bracket right now are in the sweetest spot for earning potential. We all are flush. if we, if we're successful in our careers, we're flush with money now for disposable income. And I feel like, to Nicholas's point, there's nobody kind of behind us, right? Because if you start thinking about, like, even me, I didn't see Kiss in makeup the first time around, right? I saw them out of makeup the first time. So I have some interest maybe in some non-makeup stuff. But I don't know, I guess my point is, this is the age where it feels like there might not be anybody else coming up with that disposable income to create that next boom cycle. And there's no touring band. There was an article I saw the other day. I didn't take the time to read it, but how the Elvis market is cratering.
I saw
right
that
now.
too. I saw that.
I didn't read the article, but my guess is, yes, there are always going to be hardcore collectors. Always. Yes, there are some 18 and 20-year-olds out there for sure who are into Kiss and Elvis and everybody else. But it's I think it's becoming fewer and fewer. That being said, I do feel like Kiss is going to have staying power on some level as a collectible band, because arguably they're the most collectible rock band of all time. Behind, Beatles and Kiss to me, right, are the two, and Elvis. So I don't know. Do with that what you will. Good question.
Yeah. It is a good question.
No, I just wanted one final thing. I don't know if anyone noticed this, that after sort of the reunion tour came out and all that merchandise came out, as well as the Psycho Circus stuff, and at that point it seemed attainable. So all the people who had the old stuff could also collect more and more Kiss stuff that came out, the Spencer stuff. It was like I could have a complete collection. And I used to see people, there's a guy called Carol Rockhead. I don't know if you've seen his collection. And I remember looking at it going, this is the most amazing collection. If I look back now and I go, he's from Holland, and I was going, now it's a lot of Spencer's stuff. But at that time, it was all the old stuff and the new stuff. He was collecting everything, and it wasn't that much of it. But at some point, they started, probably in the last 5 or 6 years, doing way too much too quickly, and you'd have, like the comics would be like 20 variant covers, or they became too much. So a lot of people just, but there just became so much of it. Everything was so much.
You can't keep
even
up.
On one product, you can't keep up. So a lot of people just went, I can't keep up, and if I'm feeling like I can't complete my collection, I'm giving up. And that's why I think you've now seen that wave of, as we've seen on our page, you can barely get resale value on any of that stuff from 96 onwards. Like not much of it holds its value. But for a time there, like, those wall busts, or the 24-inch busts, or those what were you talking about earlier, the those what are they called, was the company you said
sideshow? The sideshow.
Yeah, the sideshow stuff.
Yeah,
they like, people were selling 4 of those for $2,000.
Right.
But now, I don't know. I think now people are going. There's been a huge division as people who just collect random things they like, or coin stuff. But before, it was people trying to collect it all, but they can't collect it all because you wouldn't have the space or the money to do it.
Right.
So people have given up.
Right. That was a huge part of why I sold my collection originally, because I tell that story all the time where I bought those rubber masks and I threw them on the bed, and I looked at them and I said, what the fuck am I doing?
He was like, honey, it's time to role play. You put on Peter and I'll put on Gene.
That's what I should have done, But I just was like, I can't do this, and I sold all 98% of it, And I regretted
to Peter
it.
Arquette via fax, and you still have the fact sheet that you sent to Peter Arquette of all the prices of the stuff that you did. Now, if you did it, you regret it immediately.
Exactly. I'm glad you pay attention, Andrew.
I do.
I've been in the record industry my whole entire adult life. What we need to do is we need to have a Jason Herndon's greatest hits.
Soundboard.
Jason Herndon's greatest hits.
Fuck all of you.
I've been in the music industry my entire life. I love this. The Elder is the best album of all time.
Danny Dabbs.
I just moved and I haven't put my collection up.
I see how it is.
Yeah.
This is the word. He hasn't mentioned Danny once, and my drinking game's going rubbish.
Right.
There was a while where he was mentioned on every episode, and in the comments, people be like, "Hey, Danny Dabbs, there he is."
What are y'all gonna do when we have Danny Dabbs on? Because he is coming on the show.
He doesn't exist.
I'm not.
I'm just gonna giggle the whole time, like he's here. He's finally here.
Yeah. He's just off camera. We'll interview him like he's the unknown Kiss collector friend. He's sitting there with the big blur, and his voice is like, I've known Jason Herndon my whole entire adult life.
I do not like any of you guys.
And then Jason's wife comes down to tell him dinner's ready, and she accidentally turns on the light, and we see who it is, and he panics.
Yeah, right. Oh no!
Ha ha ha!
Danny Dabs.
Danny Dabs.
And we're back.
That guy.
Acting.
Screw you guys. All right. Before we get to the last question, I just want to mention a couple of guys. Our very good friend Pat Lucero said he would love to see us do an all promo items show, and I, for one, am absolutely on board with that. I think we need to do one.
If you could find all your promo items.
Chris Chavella says future podcast idea: top 5 essential bootleg albums.
Yes.
I think that'd just be me and Andrew. So,
me just going like this. And
Nicholas throws down his AirPods. He's like, "Shit, I've lost one of them."
Just empty
can't
chairs
believe I've
for
done
Nicholas
this.
and I.
We had a couple of funny submissions from one from a very good childhood friend of mine, Nick Graham. He asked, "Did Vinnie Vincent save Kiss?" We'll leave that for another podcast.
No.
Michael Bolton saved Kiss. We've already covered this.
We covered that. That's right. Rob Duran says Joseph Kiss Sr. visionary or just some old guy.
Yes.
Just some old guy.
Okay, but let's see. Gary Capp said we should do a top 5 themed Kiss tour books, essential Kiss tour books.
I wholeheartedly disagree with that.
Okay.
I will not participate in that show.
Okay.
Well, why? Okay. All right. So
that's the kind of guy I am.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's make a top 5, but we're gonna stop at probably 2. But let's do the top 5 things that Joe likes, because the list that he doesn't like is really, really long.
All right. So hopefully you guys can answer this question. Oh my God. All right. So for the last question, Walter Ruther asks, what are each of you guys' Holy Grail items?
Well, my Holy Grail item is was, because I have it now. It was the event T-shirt from Madison Square Garden, 1998.
Okay, so you got it. So it's moved. So what is your new Holy Grail item?
There isn't, because there was nothing I wanted more than that shirt. I waited 22 years to get that shirt. Because if anybody has seen it, the back of it has like a partially nude woman with a bunch of Kiss tattoos all over her. And as a kid, like I was 12 at the time, I couldn't get that. So but I always wanted, every show I went to, if there is an event specific shirt for it, I always pick it up, except for the end of the road because I didn't like them. But all the other tours that I went to, the New Year's Eve at the Meadowlands, I had one. I had one from the East Rutherford Farewell Tour, June 27, 2000. I've had shirts from those, and I just didn't. The shirt from New York City '98 just eluded me, so now I have it.
So your collection is complete. You're not purchasing any other.
My collection's not complete. It's just there's stuff that I like that I'm still wanting to collect, but it's certainly not a Holy Grail like that was. Okay, fair enough. Joe, you got a Holy Grail item? That's something that you definitely want to have in your collection at some point in time.
Yeah, there really isn't. I mean, I think the obvious things we've even covered in the Return to Kiss tour book would be great. I mean, there are just Grail. To me, a Grail it goes back to the definition of Grail item. But some of those really out of reach things. But there's nothing really that I'm sitting here going, man, if that comes up, I'm gonna be, no matter what. And it's just, I don't think so. I don't really collect that way. I go through phases of collecting where I'll go down this rabbit hole or that rabbit hole. Right. Posters will interest me, vinyl will interest me, and so there's not really any one piece of merchandise where I go, man, that's the one. I just don't collect that way.
And no vinyl right now that you're like, actively searching for?
Not at the moment, no. And that's kind of strange because there have been times where I've been actively searching for, certain pieces of vinyl and looking all the time, but just not right now. Yeah.
Got it. Nicholas, think hard about it.
Holy Grail items. Well, as a militant atheist, I don't really believe in the Holy Grail. So
good.
So
Politics and religion are covered off on this show.
Exactly. No, but this, I've got a point. There's method to my madness in the fact that maybe it's something that doesn't exist, very similar, which could be the Kissmobile, the 1978 Honda Hawk Kissmobile.
Okay.
Could like that's one that they were photographed on, had stickers on it. If that somebody wanted to send it to me and it turned up in my Kiss room, then that would be the Holy Grail because it's there may be only one of them existing. So
all right, so
let's choose the 1978 Honda Hawk is my answer.
And to think my clothing pissed some people off. Am I right, Jason?
No kidding, Joe. No kidding. So Nicholas, let's bend the question.
Next week, everybody.
Try editing that out.
Yeah.
It's really hard edit to get those words out of there.
Let's bend the question just a little bit and talk and ask you about obtainable items. Is there something that you're looking for to fill in your collection right now that's an important piece that you haven't been able to track down yet?
Do I have a hole that I want to fill?
Yes. Do you have a hole that you want to fill?
Every night, 2 times a week.
Okay, sex, religion, politics. Excellent. Now we can officially shut this down.
Well, we did death as well, so it's like the whole gamut.
It's a depressing show.
This is what happens when you invite me on here. Now, the sex is the most depressing. Is there anything? Well, I think I'm a little similar to Joe. It's no one thing. It's for me. It's the completion. It's completing items, and
whatever
if somebody says, "Oh, whatever," someone offers me this, I go, "Oh, that's something I've really wanted for a while. I'll get that." But there is no one thing anymore. I think I always said for years and years, because it's Australian. That this was my Holy Grail item. I had to have this thing. This had to be part of my collection. That also, you know what it is? I've decided it's the Kiss Crocs. That is my Holy Grail item, and I'm sticking to that right now.
All right, fair enough.
But the LED version. So exactly.
For me, there's a million things that I definitely want, and I definitely look for all kinds of stuff. But the one thing that I always wanted when I was young, and finally saw one in person that I had to have, and I'm still currently working on it, is that pinball machine. It's not rare. You can find them all day long, but it would absolutely be a centerpiece in any collection. And if I purchased the pinball machine and I never bought another piece of Kiss merchandise again and just had what I have to set up around my pinball machine, I think I'd be pretty happy.
No, you're right. I think if I, in some bizarre fantasy in my head, that I woke up on Christmas morning and my wife said, "I got a present for you, it's in your Kiss room," and it was the Kiss pinball machine, even though it's not the most rare, I think I just absolutely just drop down the floor and start crying, because I think as you said, it's not the most rare piece, but it's an amazing thing, and so many people have them, but I'm very jealous of anyone who has them. And
I am too.
They're awesome.
They're amazing.
So thanks everybody for all the questions. We'll get back to regular episodes after this. Hopefully do something special for our Patreon members soon. Joe's opening a record store, Detroit Record Club. He's going there today. Is Soft open today?
Soft open, yeah.
Yeah. If you're in Detroit, go visit Joe's record store. It looks killer.
It's the only place I go whenever I'm in Detroit. I go there, and that's just open today. But I've never been to Detroit, so if I went there, it would be Detroit Airport and Joe's shop.
Yeah.
Would be the only place I'd go, of course.
and of course Joe's house, because you got to pick up your Kiss Crocs at Joe's house.
From Ohio.
Not customs. I'd bypass customs and go straight to the shop.
Good. All right.
So
again,
where is that at? Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for the questions and all the participation, and we'll see you on the next one.